Honestly, email me their stories about dealing with depression, isolation, lots of LGBTQ stories lately, which I guess go hand in hand with being depressed sad sacks. And anything under the sun that makes you feel sad or glum and you want to express it to a bunch of people who will make fun of you on a Twitch chat, this is the show for you. You can email your stories to thedepressionchamber@gmail.com, and I'll eventually get to all of them. So let's get started with a guy who calls himself the hippie cripple. Hi, I just wanted to share my experience with you since I think this might be up your alley for your show on Monday. I suffered a traumatic injury to my pelvic floor region at age 14. It wasn't an accident, it was deliberate. In my school, there was a game going around called Gaddafi, where you'd shove your hand up someone's ass and scream, "Gaddafi!" Because, you know, he died that way. Ha ha. This was all harmless, but somehow someone thought it would be a good idea to run full speed from the end of a hallway and knee me into the air by my tailbone pelvic floor perineum area while I stood there not expecting it. I was kicked so hard that I flew up into the air and landed on the exact same spot I was kicked, knocking me out. I saw black for a number of minutes, rolled around on the floor, but eventually my vision came back. I dusted myself off, hurt but not dead. I went home. Pain subsided within a few days/weeks. I thought it was just a regular injury everyone has at some point. Within a year of the initial injury, I started to see symptoms present themselves. Mainly pain, non-localized, and muscle spasms. Nothing I thought was too abnormal. At 16, I began seeking treatment for what I thought was rheumatoid arthritis, for which I had been treated for a year with biologics and other treatments for autoimmune diseases. At 3 years post-injury, age 17, I was floored. I couldn't stand on my legs. I got stuck in a hallway in my school and a teacher found me. That was the last time I really went back to school, as I was put on homebound tutoring for the rest of my senior year. I had always been severely depressed, but I think the chronic pain really drove me to a point I don't believe I would have reached if I hadn't been afflicted with this condition. I had my bouts with it in the past, was a wreck at times, but seemed to grow out of it mostly. I had no real reason to seek psychiatric help prior to the onset of my condition. I was later diagnosed bipolar 2, medicated fairly effectively, and I could fill a book with a number of hospitalizations and years of psych care. You get the picture. It took many years before I was properly diagnosed, and by the time I started to see symptoms, which were directly in the exact spot I was kicked, I was turning 19. I saw a clear and tangible swelling in my pelvic floor, and an ungodly feeling which I can only describe as a literal vice grip on my junk. My spermatic cords were clamped. My urethra pulled. Sex became something that just wasn't possible. I'd always been very sexually active. Okay, calm down, buddy. Mostly with myself, but it took my self-esteem down a peg. I'd wake up with morning wood and literally come to screaming until it went down. Life became hell very quickly. When I was floored by this at 17, I laid down and for the most part couldn't get back up. I was not coping well with the pain. I remember distinctly waking up having panic attacks when I'd start to feel the pain upon waking. The feeling is best described as waking up feeling trapped at the bottom of the ocean, grasping for air. I don't have panic attacks when I wake up anymore. I don't have panic attacks when I have flare-ups anymore. I know what's coming and I have accepted my fate. I had many episodes. These would start slowly at that age. I'd get a distinct feeling of dizziness every single time before they would come on. If I laid down motionless, they would pass, at least at that age. I'd start with dizziness. Normally I was limping, but getting around. I'd start to feel a buzzing sensation work its way up my body, starting at my waist, and going down my legs before going up my back, neck, and across the trigeminal nerves that run across my face. I would sit in biology in class in college, and watch a slide of the trigeminal nerves as I was actively feeling it buzz its way up those same nerve pathways. I had figured out if I laid down for 3 hours, the buzzing would stop. That was freshman year of college. If I didn't, it would just get worse until I had an episode. What's an episode? Well, blindness, weakness, convulsions, and lately seizures. They would always come on slow for the first few years, but later I just started dropping randomly with little to no warning. It's beyond terrifying. I was found on concrete multiple times and rushed to the ER, waking up in the ambulance usually, screaming in agony. I randomly dropped one morning 8 months or so ago, right after I turned the water on to brush my teeth. I came to on the floor of my apartment, immediately feeling the damp carpet beneath me. I floored my apartment due to a random episode. A few months prior, I was standing by the edge of the river outside my apartment late at night, when I started to feel the distinct dizziness come on much quicker than ever before. I had seconds before I lost motor function, but I managed to turn my body so I fell mostly backwards instead of forwards. I wound up clinging on the edge, 1 foot dangling off, for a half hour before I regained the strength to stand and walk back to my apartment. There is not a doubt in my mind that if I had not moved my body, I would have dropped into the water and drowned. Nobody would have noticed. I pretty much isolated myself from the world. I always stayed on social media and met a good number of people who really were good for me and who I consider myself on good terms with still. Suicide, as I'm sure you can imagine, was not an illogical thought to my mind. I strongly believe that in my case, taking my own life isn't a choice that most people would look upon as bad. Most people are told not to kill themselves because it might get better. It has only gotten worse. I used to be a very active kid. I would hike, run, play music, and I considered myself a fairly talented bass player. I stopped being able to play bass at age 17. Last notes played around 18. That was really the worst thing I had to face. I did eventually pick up guitar before finally playing it for the last time last December, but I went 1.5 years without playing a note. That was by far the darkest period I ever went through. I stopped writing down my lyrics and actually deleted almost all the writing I had saved up to that point in one suicidal dark night of trying to erase my footprint on this earth. I always was a writer and had written enough songs to produce my own amateurish album by age 17 in 2014. Ironically, just before the onset of the bullshit. Once I hit this dark point of my life, my writing style shifted. I always say that if I hadn't had this happen, I wouldn't have had anything interesting to write about, so at least I can thank the fuck who ruined my life for that. I started to record the new album in 2017. I will not mince words. I was not supposed to be alive to see it released. The album was very dark, focused heavily on suicide, and was basically supposed to be my final suicide note that I'd leave behind before ending my life. Kinda like Elliot Rodger, but a bit less autistic. As such, when I showed my mother the first track titled, "Why Does Everyone I Fall in Love With Kill Themselves?" my mother responded with, "But it's suicide music?" So that's what I titled it. When I released it online, I actually did get some buzz going. It wasn't the reason I stayed, but it started a long trend of my thought process for remaining alive, being that I still had projects to finish, and I wanted to finish them before dying. I have managed to put out a good deal of music since then, enough to fill the quota on my free SoundCloud account. It really helped. No longer was I screaming into the void. People heard what I was saying. I was finally properly diagnosed at age 21. Chronic pelvic floor dysfunction. My pelvic floor muscles are basically doing Kegels, and that's as far as it's understood. The neurological symptoms are suspected to be a result of the pelvic issues, which are suspected to be the result of the injury. I finally did reach out to the kid who did it, now an adult. What's fucked up, he told me, "I don't have any memory of that event." The statute of limitations expired when I turned 21. There was zero reason for him to deny it. It just made my blood boil. Countless people have heard my story, and the tally is now 5 people who have offered to go down to where this person lives and crack him upside the tailbone with a baseball bat. Money wouldn't have helped this situation, so I don't care that I can't sue. I just want out of this pain. I know I'm going. It's just a matter of when. I am planning for next year. I am desperately hoping I will be able to go overseas and die with dignity via physician-assisted suicide. I'm going to leave behind a mess for people to traverse. I'm not that vain, but I know people are going to talk about it after I'm gone. I disappeared for a few months from social media and found my very first Reddit thread made about myself, inquiring if anyone knew if I had killed myself or what the date was on all my social media bios. The date is September 20th, 2020. It's been in my bios since before I released suicide music. It was initially a way to throw people off and make them think I wasn't planning on going in 2017 when I was finishing the album. I know I've already filled a novel with this, and I know it's all over the place, but I've tried to keep this as simple as possible. There are elements of domestic abuse, manipulation via my immediate family, who I no longer am in contact with. I left in August of 2018, and various other life elements which have contributed to the state I am in now. This isn't a cry for help. I'm not sure I even want the attention a big influencer like yourself, well, shut the fuck up, will bring to my small SoundCloud account. I just know that I've been suffering in silence for so many years, and there's no reason to hide it anymore. This is my life, and it will be until I finally decide the day has come to get out. I have many plans in terms of content, and I have been working behind the scenes on some very big video projects, poetry, long-form prose, and audio projects, all of which I intend to release post-mortem. Love your content, and I'm sure you get told in all these emails, but to be honest, seeing how people rallied around you when you were silenced by YouTube was very inspiring to me. The Depression Chamber series was, and is, so powerful to me as a series, and I respect how you take risks like this talking about content which others would shy away from. I truly wish you all the best, and if I had $1, I'd be a patron of yours. Also, not going to lie, for a while I got worried every time you'd upload that it would be a suicide note. I'm glad that feeling seems to have passed and you appear to be in a better place. Signed, the hippie cripple lost in the sauce. Let's see if I can find his SoundCloud and play. Let's see if we can play some of his suicide music. SoundCloud. Hey, there we go. Lost in the sauce. Let's take a gander, folks. I'm gonna turn up the volume, so sorry if it's really loud all of a sudden. Here's, which one? Where's one about suicide? Would someone please kill me? Here we go.
Would someone please kill me? I'm pissed that I'm still breathing out, not bleeding out on the floor. I know pain's not fatal and I'll have to wait till it's over, and that there's no cure for this unending torment. So get bent, I'm sure that I'm living the best that I can, but I'm just a waste and a drain on the system, no matter how hard I pretend that it's useful to stay living. I'm prolonging giving myself an easy out, maybe then I'll finally know peace, but until then I'm just looking forward to my untimely end. If these words are useful to anyone out there, then maybe it's not all for none. But fuck, this game's rigged, I'm giving up, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
That's the cruelest donation.
Comorbidity, she's
Kakashi fucked him up. Oh my god. Oh my god. Still better than Asperger's Ghost of Christmas Past? Well, you could say that about any song ever made. You know, You can really hear the pain in his voice, I'll give him that. He has a reason to kill himself now? Nubcat, I think he had a reason to kill himself when he got the chronic injury. I guess this is the part of the show where I'm supposed to give advice, but it sounds like he's got everything figured out. So, I can't even begin to imagine having that kind of pain all the time. He's a stronger man than me. I would have killed myself immediately. Immediately. Fuck that. Look, suicide is never the answer, except to that singing. Wow. What mic am I using? I wish I could tell you, man. I'll look it up sometime, but I just order shit. I don't know. I had Best Guy Ever recommend this mic to me, and I bought it, and I forgot the stupid name. It's probably like RXQ15369. Just a bunch of fucking letters and numbers. Luana says suicide is sometimes the reason for the season. Okay. I guess if you want to hear more of that, go check out his SoundCloud. The name of which I just forgot. SoundCloud, Lost in the Sauce. Go give him a listen before he dies. Let him know what you think. Okay, here's a story called Shitty Little Story. Do I still talk to Best Guy Ever? Not really. I talk to his brother a lot. So, let me first state, yes, I am in high school. I'd like to think I have it a little worse than most, so I guess I'll start where my shit started. I was born into a low-income family. Although my father used to make upwards of $300,000 a year in his own roofing company, he lost that job when he got a divorce with his ex-wife. When he was younger, he had fallen in love with a woman named Margaret, I'd changed the names, and had been obsessed with her for years. Well, as the years went on, he married 3 other women, the last of which being my mother. And shortly before I was conceived, Margaret's husband died at a party with my father there. He had fallen down the stairs and cracked his skull. Only a few years later, my father would date her and still be married to my mother. I gave this context because in some way I still want to rationalize his shitty actions because he is still my father. Well, now I was born into a family of fighting. My mother found out and problems began. Since my childhood consisted of fighting, I grew up socially awkward. My cousins lived too far away. My neighbor's kids were too dumb for me. I don't mean to sound high and mighty, but the only thing I have in my life is my intellect. Okay. Well, when first grade started, I immediately got bullied. Probably for that high intellect. They were jealous of that IQ level. And for first grade, it was rough. Kids would punch me and I would get ganged up on by a certain group for years. In 4th grade, I was bullied and beat up by a chick. I told my parents and my dad laughed at me for being a bitch and proceeded to call me one. I was a skinny child but had very broad shoulders, so most kids assumed I was fat and called me fat. My sisters would constantly yell at me, and my sister Meg took her nails and scratched the shit out of me multiple times throughout my life. I not have scars on my arm. Okay, that's a big IQ sentence. I not have scars on my arm. By the time 6th grade rolled around, I started to develop an eating disorder and became fat. I didn't do anything to help the situation. Most of my problems are ultimately my fault. Well, also at that time, I developed a friend named Dave. Me and him played games, and my mother worked with his father, so that's how we met. One day he played the game Fallout 3, and I loved the game, and we played it for hours. The next week I bought it for myself, and it became my only escape of life. To be a hero of the shattered wastes. Well, a month later I went over to Dave's and asked if we could play Fallout 3. He had the DLC. He said yes, on one condition. Oh no. He forced me to ... touch him, and then did the same to me. I felt disgusting, but he was stronger and older, so I couldn't fight. I couldn't bring myself to tell my mother, as in my head, every time I told them a problem in my life, they would berate me, so I didn't tell them. The next week, my mother told me we were going back over. I told her I didn't feel like it, but she forced me to anyway. He did it again. I was forced to got there for 3 years up until my freshman year. I hated it. Meanwhile, at school, the usual was happening. I was called ugly, fat, and beat up. Punched in the face so many times, I'm surprised I'm not retarded. Also, at the time, my grades sunk. I was turning into my work. I knew it, and I did it, but something stopped me from turning it in. I was probably too lazy, but I don't know. I still have no clue why I don't turn in my work. At this time, at home, my father became more abusive, beating both me and my mother. He would wind up breaking my mother's back and knocking out her teeth. Thankfully, though, she could still walk, but had to get surgery. I loved my mother. Although she wasn't the greatest, I still loved her, and she was nice to me. I still had no friends, and my grades continued to drop, and in my freshman year, things started to look up. Even with this shit happening, I had one ray of hope. A girl I met named Sarah. Vote in the chat. Post 1 if you think it's going to work out with Sarah. Post 2 if you think it's not going to work out with Sarah. Nothing but 2s. Literally nothing but 2s. I would text her all the time on Kick. Pedophile Central. What? I don't know what Kick is, evidently. What the fuck? And talked to her a lot in school. After about 3 months of talking, I had felt like she liked me and I liked her, so I asked her out, ... She said, "I'm sorry, I've been leading you on this whole time. I don't like you at all. Never talk to me again." Whoa! Okay. It broke my heart, only reinforcing things people said about me. The next year, I was still beat up by kids at my school and by my father, and the guy who sexually assaulted me was in my weightlifting class. He tried doing it in school, but this time I stood up for myself. I had always thought I was a weak shit, but turns out I was really strong. I fought him and won and got transferred out of that class. Around the same time, I talked to another girl, Laura. Okay, 1 in the chat if it works out with Laura, 2 in the chat if it doesn't, let me know. I talked to her for 4 months and we started dating for 3 months. Lots of 2s. I was starting to be happy in life, and one day she texts me saying it's not going to work out between us. Baffled, I asked, "What, why?" "I'm so sorry, Anon. I shouldn't have led you on. I needed to confirm whether or not I was gay. I don't actually like you, and now know I'm gay." Shouldn't be laughing at his misery, but just the cruelty of women really gets my goat sometimes, folks. It broke me. Not that it was the relationship that broke me, but I felt as if I was so ugly, I literally turned girls gay. Great fucking superpower. And not in my next relationship. The same fucking thing happened. I felt like my life was a sick fucking joke. I only focus on my relationships because at home I was still beat and I was still bullied by groups because they knew I was at least a little strong. I had developed severe mental problems like an eating disorder and gained 2 bonus traits. Schizoid personality disorder, I was more than likely born with these, and BPD, bipolar disorder. My junior year, however, I started working out and losing a lot of weight. I had lost over 20 pounds in 2 months, but I gained it all back once school started. This is also a great time to mention my actual porn addiction, because why the hell not? I'm guessing he's into lesbian porn. Let's find out. I had a problem with it. Let's move on to the final act. Oh, okay. We don't get to hear details. Boring. My senior year. Well, it started off amazing. I had met a girl over the summer and liked her so much we rushed into a relationship, and it was going good because we were only talking over the phone at the time, and when I saw her the first day at school, she ignored me and told me later on that night that I didn't want to be seen with you. I have a reputation to uphold. Feels bad, man. Instead of breaking up with her, I was so desperate for a relationship, I stayed with her. After a month, I found out she was cheating on me when I logged into her Snapchat and saw her text with another guy. Hey, at least it wasn't a girl. You're moving up. I broke up with her and moved on to my girlfriend, who I am dating to this day, Andy. She hates that name. Okay. After that relationship, I realized I just wanted a cuddle and a hug, and I wasn't looking for sex. Well, Andy is the opposite. She only wants sex and says she doesn't do PDA, public or private. Well, buddy, I could take Andy off your hands for you if you haven't, you could find somebody else to cuddle with, you know what I'm saying, folks? And at this point, I have no fucking clue what to do. I understand the free pussy argument, but being sexually assaulted left a disdain for sexual contact. I want a good relationship, and this year is when all my problems stopped. I haven't been bullied, and my dad moved out, and I started getting depression meds after going to a doctor and getting a therapist, and I'm losing weight again, but I'm still failing school, but at least it turns out I'm not ugly, I guess. Should I break up with my GF? Is it worth it? I don't know. With the way my schooling is going, there is no fixing my fucked GPA, and I will never achieve my dream job as a cardiopulmonary bypass technician. What should I do? Stripper? Give handies to vagrants on the street? I'm lost, but that's it. Sorry, it's boring as fucking too long. If you never read this, at least I tried to share my story. Andy from Toy Story? I don't think so. Okay. A few notes. If the biggest problem you're having with your hot girlfriend is that she wants to fuck and you're more interested in cuddling, I guess talk to her about that. Be open and honest and say, hey, this is what I want, this is what you want. Can we compromise, meet in the middle? Or maybe you're better off with other people because it turns out sex is a pretty important element to lots of relationships. And if she wants it and for whatever reason you're not that into it, maybe she deserves to be with a guy who wants to fuck more, and you deserve to be with a girl who wants to be more sensual and cuddly and all that shit. I don't know if you're going to see a therapist, but that's who you should be talking to about being sexually assaulted as a child. I would probably seek therapy for that big time, because you've obviously, you're aware that you have a lot of mental hurdles and psychological issues because of that. And I think talking to a trained professional rather than me about it might be what's best for you. I don't know. Maybe you have talked about it and you just wanted to vent to us, which is what this show is for. But if you're not talking to a therapist about getting molested as a kid, that's kind of step one, I'd say. Lawanda says, I'm 50% lesbian. It's called being bi, Lawanda. You can't be 50% lesbian. Mumkey Jones, the relationship counselor. I don't know about that. I wouldn't say I'm a relationship counselor. I would say I'm a common sense counselor. Whenever any relationship at all between you and your parents or you and your dog or you and your girlfriend, what's the difference? It's all about compromise, folks. That's common sense. I could have told you that in 5th grade. When two people are having a conflict and they want different things, you talk it out, you try to reach a compromise, and if you can't, then you kind of have to just forget about it and move on. Am I wrong? It seems like the most basic concept ever. I'm 10 to 20% lesbian. Shut the fuck up, Princess Maria. You're too many things. Just choose one. You're only allowed to lose so many points in the Privilege Olympics, okay? You can't compete to see who gets the lowest fucking score. Mumkey, my GF wants to have sex, but I only want to play Fallout 3. What do I do? It sounds like you'd have more time to play Fallout 3 if you didn't have that bitch shoving her titties in your face all the time. I'd say dump her and play the game twice as much. Fuck her. But don't actually fuck her. That seems like the opposite of what you want to do. People have actual misery. This is bitch shit. I don't know, man. Getting molested and raped as a child isn't bitch shit. That's worse than any problem I've ever had. I'm literally a woke tard's worst nightmare, a bi-trans woman who sees through their shit. I guess you can't see through proper grammar, though, can you? Get fucked. Princess Maria, for those of you who don't know, is Florian's fiance. I think they're getting serious. Is that right? Hey, what's going on, Biggs? How's work? You like watching depressing shit while you're at work to make you feel better about your depressing job? My wife's boyfriend lets me play Fallout 3 on the weekends. That's nice of him. I love tomboys. Me too, Animated Demon. Where all the tomboys at? Lawanda says, I'm a bi woman who doesn't think non-binary and gender fluids are trans. I guess I'm a transphobe. Okay, well, that's that one. Let's move on. Oh boy, here we go. This person admits they're a 15-year-old girl. These are my second favorite types of stories in the depression chamber. My favorite ones are guys who just spaghetti spurg out with some girl that they're obsessed with, and it's just a horrible nightmare for the girl and he doesn't realize it. My second favorite stories are from genuine teenage girls because it's, oh man, just tickles my funny bone. I love it when they're sad. Finally, God's trying to level the playing field, folks. How much you want to bet she's trans? 95% chance. 95% of the females writing into this show are trans. You would think, statistically, Mumkey Jones would have a larger female audience than transgender audience, but you'd be wrong. You have to be born with a penis to appreciate my work, I guess, is the underlying theme here. Okay, here we go. I can't exactly say I was, ever, or am depressed. Well, big surprise. I'm a 15-year-old girl, so it feels like automatically I cannot say if I'm depressed. Well, I bought into that one, didn't I? Not using depressed to say the same thing as having depression. Like most teenage girls, I am bi. Hey, Lawanda, 3 years from now, I think I got you a GF in the chat. I am bi, big whoop, right? My mother had read my journal when I was in 6th grade and questioning my sexuality. She told me I wasn't gay or bi or anything, to which I responded with, okay. I never felt like trying to argue with her. In 8th grade, I officially came out to her, telling her about the guilt I felt that came with it. She told me she loved me no matter what, even though she didn't agree with it. I told her about how I thought of suicide often over it. Okay, finally, a relatable feeling. My desire to sleep with women also makes me very suicidal, so at least now I can relate to this character. She had nothing else to really say on that except ask why, even though I already told her about my guilt. I couldn't explain it any further to her, only being somewhat happy that I could get her reassurance that she wouldn't disown me or send me to a gay camp. Come 9th grade, when I had a girlfriend that my mother didn't know about. I was in an unstable and mentally abusive relationship. It started with the girl getting mad over me leaving 2 days extra from school to go with my mom and brother to St. Jude's for his cancer treatment. She tried to break up with me and cursed me out over it and guilt-tripped me. This is just backstory. I was crying one day over something my GF had said. She had tried to guilt-trip me into having an argument with my mom over going to my grandma since my mom wasn't letting me go anymore at that time. It was the only way my GF and I could see each other outside of school. My mother came in my room and saw me crying, yelling at me to stop. I had started because she wouldn't let me go outside and I was desperately wanting to be somewhere else besides inside my small-ass room. She told me she knows I think I'm in love with Katie, my GF at the time. She told me I wasn't and I wasn't gay. It confused me. She had accepted me as a daughter 1 year before, but now it was back to 6th grade. I haven't talked about it with my mom since. That girl and I broke up at the end of 9th grade. We had a friends with benefits relationship until it made me feel sick and I had to cut it off. Then the girl had started to question why I didn't want it anymore, saying that it was because I wanted to do it with someone else, a guy friend I had developed strong feelings for. I had to block her. We're friends now. That guy I had feelings for moved to a different state. I had given him a note saying I liked him on the last day of school. He doesn't have a phone. He texted me using his mom's phone a month into summer. We didn't talk much. I asked him about what he had to say on the note. He said he liked me more as a friend and he moved away. The last time we talked, I asked him, by the way, what the fuck is with the scar on your face? Not meaning for it to sound rude, but I think it came off that way. Yeah, no shit. He hasn't texted me in 2 months. Oh my god. I've had nightmares, guilt nightmares about it. Yeah, tell me about that, sister. I know all about those guilt nightmares. Every fucking night I can't sleep. About him calling me a bitch and not wanting to ever speak to me again. Or telling me not everything is about me. I was talking to my friend about cute things he said to me before, like when he found out I was gay, he said, well, I have to be trans now. Wow. But he sees you as a friend, huh? Or when he found out my GF and I broke up, he said, why didn't you tell me? Is it because you think guys can't talk about feelings? Or telling me he had been flirting with me. And then he friend zones you? This guy sounds like a moron. My friend said she thinks he may have liked me. It made me cry. I don't care, or I don't know if I was happy or sad, probably both. There's a pit in my stomach now. Every now and then I go and reread our old text messages. Of course, since I'm a teenage girl, my way of dealing with sadness is cutting. I hadn't cut in a few months, but a few days ago I did it again. You want to see cutting, huh? You want to see real man pain, huh? That's what happens. Damn it, I can't fucking see. That's what happens when Susan deletes your YouTube channel. I just couldn't stand it. And also, me and my cat Blaze were playing a little rough the other day. That's real cutting. When your cat's a dickhead. Anyway. I bleed it out big and deeper just to pull it away. That's right. Anyway, enough making fun of people cutting themselves. I hadn't cut in a few months, but a few days ago I did it again. I said something to my friend that was taken the wrong way, I guess. She said I need to work on how I word things because I had done that to Dihanu, the guy I liked. What is he, Indian? Dihanu? He's gonna call me and try to get a Google Play card? That was my ex that said that. I knew she meant for it to hurt me. All those times I started sniffing bleach and pressing my lips to the bottle. I wish that I had fallen through with it. I wish that when I took a bath and started to slice my wrists with a razor that it had gone deep enough. I wish I were brave enough to kill myself. I wish that my emotions were valid, but I'm a teenage girl. Okay. If I'm sad or angry, it's summed up to nothing but that, or maybe being on my period. Sorry for this, by the way. My brother and I love your channel. This is just my ramble because my friends are probably tired of it. Okay. So, being a teenage girl does not invalidate your feelings as much as I like to joke about it and give people shit. At the end of the day, being a white teenage girl in the United States is the highest form of privilege on this earth, and I refuse to believe otherwise. I don't know how it could possibly not be true. But I guess you're allowed to be sad that you fucked up some relationships. But cutting yourself is not the self-improvement necessary. I would say there are better methods to prevent you from having the same pain in the future. I'd say put the razor down and maybe pick up a book like How to Win Friends and Influence People. Maybe you'll learn, because teenage girls, they don't have a lot of self-awareness other than hating themselves and thinking that they're ugly and putting on clown makeup every day. But in their interactions with other people, it seems that they don't have the most self-awareness. I would say learn a little bit of self-awareness. Maybe don't just say, yo, what the fuck is up with that big-ass ugly scar on your face? My guess would be that guy was a little self-conscious about it and was hoping you would never point it out, and then you did it in a really infuriating way. So yeah, you fucked up, but whatever. I fuck up every single day. I've probably had bigger social faux pas on this stream so far, and we've been going for less than an hour. You take the shit that you fucked up with and you learn from it to be better in the future. You don't slit your wrists over it. That's fucking pathetic. Stop harming yourself, you fucking idiot, and read a book. It's that easy. I think her main problem is giving too much of a shit about what other people think. Well, that comes with being a teenage girl too, buddy. I don't know if she'll ever age out of that one. Lawanda says, don't cut yourself. This is why women shouldn't exist. Teenage girls don't need rights. They have more rights than anybody. Unless you are summoning a demon, otherwise no cutting. Teenage girls don't need the internet. I don't think teenagers in general should be on the internet. And I think we discussed that at length on the State of the YouTube podcast. Teenage girl gets sad over spilled milk. Is this depression? Yeah. Brick Boy quotes Asperger and saying all women are whores. Okay. Good quote. Any other advice for Miss Cuts-a-Lot? All women are whores, can confirm. I just don't think teenagers should be on the internet. I agree. Justice for teens. Call 911. Yeah. Leave your house. I don't think this advice is relevant to the story. She doesn't even know the concept of loneliness. Yeah, that's probably fucking true. Sometimes I cut myself to relieve the pain. If you want to feel pain to feel better, go fucking lift some weights, Princess Maria. You want to cause pain inside your body to feel good? Fucking start benching and deadlifting, you bitch. Stop cutting, you fucking idiot. So stupid. Teens shouldn't be on the internet. Mumkey loses 40k subs. I would lose 140k subs. You think there's anybody watching me who's not in high school? Come on. Brandon, hold her down. She's a fighter. Asperger. Baron von Brunk. I expect better from you. How dare you? Do crunches. That is pain. True. Princess Maria says, no. Oh, really? Harming yourself when it's for the benefit of your body, that's too far. Cutting yourself for no reason, that's not bad. Okay. Nobody over 23 on the internet. From my experience, I'd imagine so. Self-harm is pretty cringe. I tend to agree. Read my continuation of my depression chamber and see how good you have it. Are you talking to me or are you talking to the girl? I don't need to hear that shit. I know how fucking good I have it. Anyway. Here's a story from a guy named Chicken Nugget. Oh shit, did I just dox him? Oh god damn it, not again. Okay. Well, I don't even know where to even start. I have so much shit I want to talk about, but I'll get to the main points. I've struggled with my emotions for years. I deal with a fucking anti-vax Karen of a mother who gets extremely angry when I don't have the exact same emotion or idea she does. My ability to express anger, happiness, sadness, etc. is almost non-existent. I have so much bottled up, I really just don't know what to do. I'm one of those children whose fathers who walked out on me, and it's really messed me up. I loved my father. He was the most important person in my life, and just to have him disappear really hurts. My appearance really bothers me. I know from other people I'm not terrible looking, but having family call me fat as a child has made me have horrible self-image issues. I'm in my last year of high school and I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life. I have no drive to go to college, but want to go to a trade school to become a chef. I think I'm looked down on for it. My anxiety is pretty high, especially if I have to go to any doctor or dentist. As a child, I had around 6 teeth pulled without proper numbing medicine, so it's very hard to not have flashbacks from this and really fucking me up. The worst that has happened to me, though, is being sexually abused from ages 12 to 13 by almost 17 guys. Never physically, but mostly through treats threats to hurt me and my family / pets if I didn't send nudes. It makes me have really bad trust issues in my relationship that my boyfriend isn't just using me for sex. I won't go into more than this, but really just wanted to rant. I'm really trying to improve myself mentally or physically. It's just really hard, and it's nice to be allowed to get this off my chest. Okay, Chicken Nugget. I would say, if you're at all interested in being a chef, you should absolutely go to that trade school this fall. Fuck yeah, dude. Or I guess in this case, chick. Go for it. Fuck college. Man, 4 years of college, taking all these general ed classes that are required and you have to pay 20 grand for them. It's a fucking scam. Go to the tech school, learn the skills to be the best goddamn chef. You say you have body issues, you think you're fat. Bitch, there's a reason why they say never trust a skinny chef. You become a chef, you get fat as fuck, you make the most delicious food. That's it. It sounds like a good life to me. I'd love to be a fat, happy chef. You can come cook for me. Sounds good. What do you guys think? That's the best advice I have. Become a chef. People can ask you if you've seen Chef. You'll say, bitch, I am Chef. Man with stains on his shirt saying fuck college. These aren't stains. I'm sweating through my shirt because it's fucking hot. Also, get vaccines. Stop doing follow-up emails if Mumkey doesn't read the original. I'm just reading these in order. Yeah, no, these are cum stains that appeared during the stream. Yeah, the guy who was feeling all that pain really, it made me fucking cum in my shirt, dude. Got me. I'm not going to college. I'm gonna be a porn cam girl. Okay. Good luck with that one, Princess Maria. I don't know if Florian's gonna like that. Food is the best way to make people happy. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. You need a direction in life. You need a path. You need a purpose. Being really good at making food, man. I'd probably marry a girl just if she was good at cooking at this point, because I eat fucking Hot Pockets for every meal. Come on over. You can come on my shirt. Okay, Roger. Girls, you can get literally any guy. A lot of guys are just happy to have a housewife. True. I make myself undepressed by eating 2,000 chicken nuggets, just like Shrek. Porn cam girl, that sounds like the career for me. Why did Anthony Bourdain kill himself then? Because he's a loser. What kind of rich billionaire chef kills himself? Pathetic. Put him on the pathetic list, folks. Just sad. He didn't even donate all his money to me before he did it. What a dick. Epstein didn't kill himself? Really? I didn't know that. Girls, you can fuck any girl if they are smaller than you. That seems like weird advice. If Florian pays for all my surgeries, I won't need to. Okay. And also to the guy talking shit about my stains, I did go to college, god damn it. That's how I know it's a scam. I don't talk shit about stuff I don't have experience in, god damn it. Get on Tinder, most of those guys have weird, fucked up fetishes. What, like food? Okay, here we go. Let's see if we'll get a third female story tonight, folks. You notice the thing about the chicken nugget story? She did not feel the need to introduce it saying, I am a girl. All these other fucking... what, are they trying to get me to pick their story by putting, I'm a girl in the very beginning? No, that's not how it works around here, fam! Anyway. Filthy femoids. Where do I go if college is a scam? Go to like a trade school or a tech school that specifically in 2 or 3 years teaches you about the career you're actually going to get. I mean, yeah. Don't do what I did. Don't go get a 4-year generic English degree. It's fucking worthless. I could wipe my ass with the diploma and it would serve me better than going into a business with it. DMAC is a good one. I don't think, Lawanda, I don't think most places have Des Moines area community college. I think that's more of a Des Moines area thing. No, not like Full Sail. Don't go to Full Sail. Wipe your sweat with your... Don't fall for the trade meme. I fell for the fucking 4-year college meme. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I sweat through my shirt by the end of the stream. I was supposed to turn on the air, but now I'm too lazy to get up. Hey there, just a little side note that my keyboard is fucked up because all I have is a high school computer that doesn't work well, so there will be typos. Well, I just saw this on the FBI video, and holy shit do I want to get some shit out. I'll start with exposition because might as well. I'm obviously a high school student, as I've said. I'm currently a sophomore at 15 years old. I have had 1 college class. I do 4 clubs and have had up to 7 clubs at once. I work as a cashier since I turned 15. I take all accelerated classes except art and film lit. I have mostly okay grades. A few B's, a few C's, a D, and a few A's. I play games a lot because besides acting for school plays, it's my only escape. I've just gotten really angry and depressed, obviously. Having to do so much, I already feel stressed enough, but recently my dad has started fighting me over the D, which I already got to a C+. The argument was I'm a lazy sack who just plays games. Considering my actual break was working 33 hours a week, 6 days a week, and once school hit I had to do something every day a week. Luckily, my work let me get a day off so I could get rest, but I still had to fight with my family to say that I'm working my ass off to get nothing but a few $100s that go directly to bills. Sometimes that means I have $20 to $70 a month during school and $250 to $350 a month. It can be nice, but I'm so stressed that I only use it for games or food, fueling another issue. I am 300 pounds at about 5'10". I have so much to do that I don't get to do what really makes me happy. I don't get to work out. I love working out and being athletic, but after years of you can't go outside and unhealthy food is cheaper, so it's what we have, I am a blob. I used to play basketball, but now I'm out of practice and can't get better because I only get to practice at my school where we only have a half court and can only use it 19 minutes a day. I used to work out with my old coach, but then he had to take over the high school team he worked at, and I couldn't anymore. I've lost the one way to stay in shape. I started getting more depressed and no one helped. Then I had a lifeline. This girl, Dia, who I talk daily to for hours on end. We played games for hours a week. I caught feelings. You might be thinking, how did you fuck this up? And I didn't do anything but say, hold up, I'm 15. We've ever met in real life. We've only seen each other through pics and video calls. She's 19, gone through some college, way too good for you, etc. And I stopped. I stopped talking as much. I stopped caring. I gave up. I had fought with this fear that no one cared for me for years, and to some degree, I've found that not caring helps numb the pain. If you don't build connections, you can't burn them. If you give you at the end of the finish line, you won't risk getting injured at the end. I'm still at this point. I'm angry, I'm sad, I just want to give up. There is more I want to say, but I've already said so much about things personal to me that people who know me could tell I'm me. Please hide my email if this goes on record. Okay. I would say, if you feel like you don't have enough time in the day and you're stressed out because you have too much to do, last time I checked, nobody was holding a gun to your head, forcing you to be in 7 school clubs at the same time. And what are you in, like fucking anime club? Spanish club? What fucking clubs are you in that are worth all this stress? Maybe drop the 5 clubs and then go to the weight room and work out for an hour after school every day, rather than hanging out in these fucking clubs where you're probably just sitting on your dick doing nothing. Anime club is worth it, to be honest. Bullshit. Mumkey said the email. No, he didn't want me to show his name because he emailed me with his real name. Mumkey fan club? That would be banned from any school. Problem is loneliness and laziness. I don't think he's lonely. I mean, I don't think he's lazy. I think he's doing too much. He needs to cut out the fat, no pun intended, and focus on the things that will improve his state of mind. And also, if you're in these 5 clubs, are you sitting there isolated in the corner, or are you talking to people? Why are you chatting up fucking 19-year-old college bitches on AIM when you're in 5 different clubs? Why are you not talking to girls there? Mumkey fan club would just be a bunch of would-be school shooters. Well, yeah, what do you think this chat consists of? We have a Mumkey fan club at my school. I think it's called Autism Awareness. Cool. There is a gay straight alliance club at my old school. I wanted to go but was sick the day it happened. You're just a bad ally. At 15, they have so many hormones and so much stress being forced to figure out shit. Just get out of high school and you'll be fine. Yeah, you know, it sounds really condescending to say, especially when all these stories have been from high schoolers tonight. But really, most of the problems you're facing in high school as a teenager, you will immediately forget about when you turn 20. And you'll probably look back and think, why did I even fucking care about that? That was pointless. And it is because your body's going through all sorts of changes, Jimmy. You know, you're not in your most proper adult, mature state of mind. Things that are minor inconveniences might blow up and make you fucking cut yourself in the bathtub like a bitch. There's a lot of light at the end of the high school tunnel, and it's probably really hard to see it. Probably feels like there's a train coming straight for you, but there's probably not. I would imagine 95% of people feel very similarly when they're 15. By med school, you learn not to give a fuck. No one cares if you have a GED or a diploma, to be honest. Yeah. And anybody who pretends to care, I judge them more than I judge somebody for having a GED, or even somebody who drops out of high school. Man, what the fuck do I actually care about another person's level of education unless they're trying to lord it over me or brag about how smart they are, and then I could say, bitch, you're a fucking moron. But honestly, do people really care? Does anybody actually give a fuck about what grades you got your sophomore year of high school? Literally nobody gives a fuck. Your parents care because they're dumb. I guarantee your fucking dad probably had 5 Ds on his fucking report card, but nobody cares. Your high school grades don't matter unless you're trying to get a very specific scholarship. And even then, just fuck on your application, just say you're Latino or some shit and you'll get the scholarship anyway. It doesn't matter. I had to send my English degree to Twitch to get this channel. True. Says the man who peaked in high school. I peaked last year. What are you talking about? Don't give me that shit. I peaked in like July of 2018, and it's all been downhill from there. I hire people. We really don't give a shit. You can get into a community college with a GED and transfer to something better later. True? Anyway, that brings us to over an hour. And I think that's all I've got in me for the Depression Chamber tonight, folks. Sorry we didn't go for 2 hours like we did last week, but we had double the hosts then. And I wasn't sweating through my shirt profusely. And also, fun fact about me, today I woke up 4 hours ago. I went to bed at about noon, woke up at about 6 p.m., could not sleep last night. And so I'm just getting started with my day. This stream was my vocal warm-up, because I have a 12-page documentary that I finished writing the script for, and I now need to record the dialogue for it. So, wish me luck. The worst part about filming videos for me is recording the voiceover, so I'm probably gonna rip out my hair tonight. It's gonna be a fucking nightmare. Thanks for tuning in, folks. It's been fun. I hate you all. I hope you've all submitted stories.